Now, moving on, we're going to work on absolute value. Your VIC for this video today, your very important concept, absolute value. Absolute value is this symbol. It's two parallel lines. Looks like the number 11, but it's usually bolder and a little bit bigger than your average number there as it's written. And our definition again is absolute value is a number's distance from 0. So let's look at an example. The absolute value of x equals 4. We know that x is 4 units from 0 because our definition says absolute value is a number's distance from 0. Okay? So we can take the absolute value of 4, and it's 4 because here's 4, and we count back 1, 2, 3, 4. But we also know that negative 4 is 4 units from 0. So you have to be careful. Now, what this was not an inequality. This was just an equality, and we would locate it with closed dots saying, here's our solution to this problem, which is the absolute value of x equals 4. The answer is negative 4 and positive 4. Absolute value and inequalities is very similar, but now we're dealing with the inequality symbol. The absolute value of 4 is less than 4, as written with our problem here. We are going to put an open circle at 4 because it does not include 4. But we also know that negative 4 is 4 units from 0 based on our definition of absolute value. Okay? So here's what we know. If the absolute value of x is less than 4, and we're dealing with a negative number, we remember every time we have a negative number, we need to flip our sign. Okay? So we flip our sign. So now we have the absolute value of 4 is less than 4. We're going this way. The absolute value of negative 4 is greater because we flip it. It's going this way. And all of our solution possibilities here are between negative 4 and 0, but not including those numbers. Let's take an example from the solution set and see if it works. Okay? We're going to pick the number negative 2. So let's plug that in here. The absolute value of negative 2 is equal to 2. We know that's 2 units from 0. So is 2 less than 4? Going back to our original problem, we would put a 2 in here, and the answer is yes. So all of our answers here, if we put in 3, would 3 be less than 4? Would negative 3? Yes, because negative 3 is 4 units from 0, just as 3 is 4 units from 0. Okay? Moving forward. Now, absolute value, we're going to write it as a compound inequality. The example states, the absolute value of x plus 3 is less than 6. And this is how it works here. We're going to follow some steps here. We are going to write this absolute value as two inequalities. We're going to make them a compound inequality. But notice what happens. We take the original problem, x plus 3 is less than 6, and we write it out here. But we're also going to write it x plus 3 is greater than negative 6. Note what we did. First, the inequality symbol was flipped. If it was less, it becomes greater. And the sign of the number that we are having to the right of the inequality sign, that also goes to its opposite sign. Because that's, in dealing with absolute value, we have to deal with positive and negative numbers there, because we know every number is equally distant from 0. A positive number 5 is 5 units from 0. A negative number 5 is 5 units from 0. So let's go through the solution. We're going to take this inequality and solve it. Basically 3 from both sides. We now have x is less than 3. We're going to take our revised inequality with the flipped sign and our opposite sign and solve it. Subtract 3 from both sides. And we have x is greater than negative 9. And now we're going to graph it. So we go back to our original inequality. The absolute value of x plus 3 is less than 6. What we graph, though, is x is less than 3 from our solution here, and x is greater than negative 9 from our solution also from a few minutes ago. Okay? The absolute value of x plus 3 is less than 9. Here we have a circle at our 3, and we said it was less than 3. We're going in that direction. We have x is greater than 9, open circle here, going in the positive direction. And every number between -9 and 3, excuse me, but not including -9 and not including 3, would be the solution to this inequality. Let's check. We're just going to pick the number -8. We're going to put a -8 and plug it in here and solve it. So if we put the absolute value of -8 plus 3. Well, -8 plus 3 takes us 3 in the positive direction, which is a -5. We now know that -5, the absolute value of -5 is 5 units from 0, which is 5. Then we plug it back into our inequality. Is 5 less than 6? The answer is yes. Okay? Just one more time, take a quick look. We take our absolute value inequality. We drop the absolute value sign and write the inequality exactly as you see it. We then write it again with and we're going to write x plus 3, and this time flip our sign, go to the negative of whatever the number is to the right of the inequality sign. Solve it, graph it, check it. Okay? Thank you for your time.